the funny thing is when you read about it, Olympics
was an orgy, is it?
Fucking pagan festival. I mean, it was started to worship. It was started to honor Zeus. People went there. The Greeks went there. I mean, Greeks, Egyptians, whatever. They would stop fighting wars to go there. And when it first started, there was only one event just running, and they would run naked.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terrence?
Good old humor.
Good old humor, man.
Yeah.
How is the week been?
It is welcome to the summer, man. Like the wet summer.
The wet summer.
I mean, in some ways, it's very hot. It's very hot. Even the rain is hot when it rains also. At least this morning it was.
Yeah.
And then you're seeing it around the world, right? In Paris as well.
Yeah.
Rain.
Yeah.
As well. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think Paris first few days was raining. Then today, I mean, there was a heat wave or something.
Yeah.
I mean, heat wave for them is like 34 degrees.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I think last week were the two hottest days in the world ever.
Oh, is it?
Like, if you look at the average temperatures and all, it was the hottest day one day, and then the next day was the hottest day. The new hottest day.
Average temperature.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Generally, the world is the hottest overall that it has ever been.
But I don't think it felt like that in Singapore, right?
Yeah, Singapore felt like it could have been hotter.
And there were some cool pockets here and there also.
But this weekend also it rained a bit. It rained a bit.
Correct.
But yeah, this morning I got stuck in the rain.
Yeah.
Because it was just a sudden outpour. So I decided to take the plunge. Literally, I ran, got drenched. And like 10 minutes later, like Dom walks in, dry.
So the parable of the early bird and everything. Sometimes waiting is actually, it's a skill. The patience is a real virtue,
Yes. Once in a while, yes. But I just felt like, okay, this felt like a rain that was, how long you want to wait?
It's a bad decision, though, to run. Because you're also increasing the opportunity to slip and fall and hit your head.
That one, then that one, I have faith. Like walking also, there's risk of slipping and all. Everything is a measured risk, right?
No. But if it's raining, very specifically, the instance of raining in Singapore, I feel it's not a wise decision to run the rain.
But that was a calculated risk on my part,
I mean, the word that I like to use a lot now, stupid.
Then I would say that you're being an asshole. There's nothing stupid about that. There's so many things that people do on a day-to-day basis that put them at a higher risk of so many things. You can't say all of that is stupid.
Correct. Okay, I mean, but in Singapore, the rain usually it really lasts for very short periods.
Actually, no, man.
Bursts,
like earlier this year, there were certain days the whole day is raining.
Correct, January for sure. I mean, you studied the monsoons and everything. Well,
okay,
right?
Don't take this condescending tone. I just made the decision, which I don't regret. I got to the office and I could start. I'm also like, there's also some other stuff that I'm rushing by 5 p.m. today.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then you run.
Yeah. So there's this stuff that we're applying for. That Terrence already applied his one. I haven't finished it. Yeah.
I'll give you my blessings to run that. Yeah. But I mean, it's interesting because literally, talking about the Olympics also, right?
Yeah.
Because of all the rain, they've had to cancel postpone certain events like the triathlon.
Yeah.
And so, you talk about calculated risk, right?
Yeah.
That is a real calculated thing. They actually measure, the amount of sewage and water and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the rain really has that kind of effect on big events.
Mother Earth.
Yeah. But not in Singapore. Singapore, you have like 10 minutes late. It's okay.
Yeah. And I mean, there's nothing that has been stopped by floods, right?
Singapore?
Like a
Recently?
big event or something. No, right?
No, not in recent times, I know. Yeah.
Has caused inconveniences.
Of course, yeah.
But I mean, we are going to be talking about the Olympics. So we will probably touch on the weather during the Olympics as well.
Yeah.
But before that, Terrence, what's the regular spiel?
Welcome to Yalabat. If you're new to this podcast, especially after listening to maybe Bilahari or Hokomping on the podcast, welcome. Please like, share, follow, subscribe because, we create a lot of awesome content. There's not just about guests, but also about us sharing our thoughts about the current affairs and news. So to keep up to date with that, please make sure to do all you need to do to stay in touch with us.
Yeah, so we're on Reddit, TikTok, Instagram. If you're listening to us on Spotify or YouTube, hit that subscribe or follow button. And if you want to work with us, just check us out on ministryoffunny.com. You can leave us a message there and we will get back to you.
Yes.
Cool, man.
Okay.
Okay.
But jumping right into the the big topic, right?
Yeah.
The Paris Olympics.
Yeah.
How's the Olympics been for you? Like, have you been following what's going on?
I mean, just news. I'm not following as much as I thought I would be able to.
Oh yeah.
I don't know actually. Like, I think it's still not like the default option for me. Like, if I'm at home, just turn on the TV and leave the Olympics on.
Yeah.
Because I remember the last Olympics I did that.
Yeah.
And that was great. But this time around, it still hasn't clicked in. Like, hey, shit, by default, just leave it on. You never know what's showing. Like.
Maybe it's the time difference or something.
But the last Olympics was Japan.
Yeah,
Japan?
correct, yeah.
Also a bit more friendly to the time difference.
No, because now, stuff starts when we are at home at night, right? The events start when you're, basically done for the day already.
Yeah.
So now, only if you have time at night and everything, then you can.
What for you?
I like to leave it on when I'm like doing stuff around the house and all that as well. So I've just been following a few of the events. I love the swimming events, like where they swim for like 15 or 16 minutes straight. It's just watching them just swim.
Yeah, I never thought I would enjoy it also, but there's some, I don't know what about it I like, but I also really enjoy seeing those races.
Yeah.
What about it do you like?
I think Gan Qinghui, she swam like 16 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's just, you're just sitting there watching someone swim for like 16 minutes straight, like freestyle, and just trying to imagine yourself doing it and knowing that you'll probably be, after 1 or 2 laps, you'll be done already. Right? So it's quite amazing that way.
But then why you never go to the public swimming pool and watch swimmers swim?
It's creepy, right? You don't do that. You're watching athletes at their best, with the most ideal body types doing the sports they're doing. Yeah. So it's quite meditative almost, just to watch them do that thing.
It's just so graceful, right?
Yeah. I think be in that zone, that's the thing. They're just so like, wow, so focused.
Yeah. But I mean, there's a lot to shout about on the positive side of the Olympics. But since the opening, there's been one piece of news that has been dominating the negative side of the Olympics, or alleged negative side. And it was a couple of things that happened during the opening ceremony that took place over this past weekend. And it was the depiction of what people see as the Last Supper as part of the Olympics. Which involved, I think, drag queens, and it somewhat sexual as well, and someone who was painted in blue, who some people have said is depicting Jesus.
Correct.
Yeah. So there's gotten a lot of reactions, and very prominent people have also condemned it, like Trump.
Yeah.
Elon Musk. A lot of religious leaders around the world. Sharing their thoughts. I mean, a lot of content about it, dissecting the whole thing and making comparisons of that one shot of everyone standing by the table and the Last Supper.
Yeah.
But almost, I wouldn't say universal condemnation. But when did you first hear about this?
I think right after the ceremony, a lot of people were posting like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, it's blasphemous.
Yeah, but just the context of like the ceremony. Did you see the ceremony itself, like, and the interesting bits of it,
Yeah, like this morning, like I had seen bits of it, but this morning I just scanned through the full 4-hour video on YouTube, and it was a lot more epic than I thought. For you? Did you watch it live, or do you?
No, I didn't watch it live. I saw snippets and saw people reacting to it online. I think like the highlights were like Celine Dion, obviously singing a song on the Eiffel Tower. That was pretty cool. And then the lasers coming out from Eiffel Tower. That was like something I'd never seen before. I think Lady Gaga also performed a sequence and everything. But apparently that wasn't live. It was filmed prior and just shown. And then the idea of the rivers, the La Seine, the river, being the focal point of this Olympics, that's a very new thing.
Yeah.
Apparently, I was listening to a podcast from the Journal. They're just talking about the River Seine and how they've been spending the last few years trying to prepare the river for this.
I think it was a 10-year project.
Yeah. And just like how polluted everything has been, and even down to the wire, right? Of like, literally the triathlon got postponed because there was too much E. coli in the water. So the Seine is supposed to be a very big focal point of the Olympics, to make people, wow, Paris is not only the most romantic city, but like they can do this, So yeah, even the opening ceremony had those boats, right, where the depiction of the supposed depiction of the Last Supper was on one of the boats as it sailed down the river.
Oh, on the boats as well?
Yeah. Was it on the boat?
No.
It wasn't on the boat?
No, it was on the bridge.
Oh, sorry, on the bridge.
Yeah.
Okay, so I saw the snippet I saw wrongly as the boat.
No, it was the bridge.
Yeah.
The bridge.
But even the boats also featuring all the athletes sailing down as well. That also people are like, oh, they're getting drenched and you can barely even see what's going on and all that, right?
Yeah.
So there was some like criticisms of the thing, but probably not to the level of what this tableau has been criticized for.
Yeah, because when I first saw these things come up in the news, I was like, hey, shit, it's just a bunch of people standing around a table. Then the supposed DJ has her DJ console just there on the table.
Yeah.
It looks very slipshod.
Slipshod?
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Like this Olympic ceremony, the world is watching. Not talking about a controversial arrangement, but you see the DJ console is literally just on a white table.
Oh, yeah.
It's
no
like
wires.
someone's house.
Yeah.
They got like someone perform. But when I watch, when I skim through the whole 4-hour thing, it's actually pretty damn epic. Because I think a lot of Olympic ceremonies, they're contained within like a stadium.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of performances, a lot of coordination. But if you see this, right, there's even like some guy who looks like the dude from Assassin's Creed. Right? I don't think they officially identify it as Assassin's Creed, but the parkour element.
Yeah.
And then they were kind of like going from location to location. Then they had a French heavy metal rock band play on the balconies of the prison that Marie Antoinette was jailed at.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh shit, this is cool. Then there was that portion on the bridge where they showed this and people have been called as blasphemous.
Yeah. Correct.
So how, Terence?
I mean, I thought we wanted to hear.
You go first.
Because I mean, the truth is the people who have been criticizing it.
Yeah.
A lot of them come from the Catholic
Christians
and Catholics,
right?
Yeah. Who have said that this depiction of the Last Supper, and the Last Supper by Da Vinci, which was I think drawn in, painted in the 15th century, right?
1498.
Yeah. So that was a depiction of Jesus like breaking bread and offering wine to his 12 apostles, is it?
Yeah.
I
think so. Before.
Yeah.
It was his Last Supper.
Yeah, the Last Supper where it basically, this is where he's basically saying that this is the body and blood of Christ, broken up for you, right? So it's a very, very holy instance in the Bible that was depicted most famously in Da Vinci's Last Supper, right? So yeah, I mean, people are saying that this makes a mockery of that very, very sacred moment that Christians and Catholics hold dear.
Yeah.
What do you feel?
What do you say, Terence? I ask you you tell me what other people say.
Oh no, but there's still more to it, I mean,
no, your first thought.
My first thoughts.
Yeah.
My first thoughts was that because I've spent some time in France, studying there and everything.
And in the religion?
In the religion, I would say is very, very, a very long time ago, but France probably more recent memory as an adult, right? And, the place is just avant-garde, it's just, even no matter how progressive or how, open-minded you think you are, there are parts when you walk around France, that you walk in the cinema, sometimes you don't know what the hell they're showing. They're literally like just screening, really avant-garde films in the middle of the day.
So what do you mean by avant-garde?
Means really out there.
Okay.
I wouldn't even consider art house, because when you say art house, there's still some semblance maybe of a story or something like that. But avant-garde is just literally, it just shows you some black and white footage or some random thing going on, and that is just 45 minutes long. And you pay the price of a movie ticket to go and watch this kind of thing, you see. So I think the French people, they're in terms of their relationship to art, it just flows in the city. It's just everywhere in the city. So when I saw that, there was some strange images coming out from the Paris Olympics, I was like, oh, okay, that's France. Those are French people, a bit kooky sometimes, but, this is their culture. So I didn't expect people to get so offended by it. But yeah, since then, people have really gone riled up.
Yeah.
How about you? Have you been gotten riled up as well?
Oh, no. So if you're new to the podcast, my wife is Catholic. I do go with her to church every Sunday.
Yeah. So between everyone in the room here, you spend the most time.
Yeah. I think I spend more time in church than a lot of Catholics also. because I said, yeah, I'll go with you. I'm not a believer, but I go lah. And once in a while, I listen to the teachings, I see the community, and a lot of things to think about. I'm still not a believer.
Okay.
I don't think I'll ever be, but that's the context where I'm coming from.
Okay.
Yeah. So when
you have a front row seat lah to like.
I mean, normally we don't sit in the front row lah.
Okay,
but I would say compared to most people,
metaphorically, you have a front row seat of how a Catholic, Catholics could view and something like that lah, right?
I mean, I would say I have a front row seat of like mass.
Okay.
But I don't know what everyone's thinking.
Yeah.
Right?
You always sit in the back, you always sit in the back just quietly, hope nobody notices you, right?
I see my wife. And me and my wife do talk a lot about religion, especially now that we're having a child and all, right? Yeah. So when I first saw this, like, for me, I was like, oh shit, it looks very similar.
Yeah.
So why have this as part of the Olympics?
You got offended.
No, I didn't get offended. But I was just thinking, okay, so this one, you almost know that if you're going to do something that even looks, I mean, side by side, of course, a lot of things have been unveiled or uncovered from the organizers, the designer. But you look at it side by side, you're like, okay, this looks somewhat similar. Then I was thinking, okay, like, why would you want to do that? Because you almost know this will be the center of all the discussions that will take away from the athletes themselves. And it has been. Yeah. So it feels like, okay, why? Do I think like it's wrong? No, I wasn't offended or anything. It was more like, okay, why did you choose to do this? Because there's so many other things. And after watching the whole ceremony, I was like, wow, they really covered a lot of stuff. And then when you watch the whole ceremony, so that was my first thought. That was my first thought. And then like, so I wouldn't say I was offended. I was just wondering, okay, is that the best choice? Because you could see it dominate the news.
Yeah.
Then the more I read, the more my opinions also evolved, which we can talk through. Yeah.
But the interesting thing about something that I've been reading up a little bit is that painting, The Last Supper and all that. I'm by no means any art historian or anything, but my understanding is apparently it was one of the early depictions of like what a feast looks like in a painting. So in terms of perspective, I mean, strangely, you put everyone on one side of a long table, it doesn't make sense also, right? That's not how people sit around a table. But it was just, in that time, it was a very new way of depicting people at a feast, right? So in some sense, when you say, your initial thought of like, why would you choose to do it like that? The things, I think there were a lot of paintings during that period, or at least painters during that period, who were doing that style of a feast with people seated across a table like that. It just so happens that The Last Supper probably is the most famous depiction of that,
Yeah.
So that was something, an interesting piece of like art history that I only just recently read about because of this.
Yeah.
But so you're saying your thoughts evolved. Like, what do you read that made you suddenly like become more woke about it?
See, there you're really casting my eventual take. But surprising, Terrence.
Yes.
The more I read about it, the more I saw, I'm like, I think, okay. So I still feel that at the end of the day, the directors of the show, they knew what they were doing. The performers, the dancers, they knew what they were doing. But there is also this other aspect, and maybe they were trying to be smart about it, because there is another painting called The Feast of the Gods that was painted by the Dutch artist Jan van Bijlert. I'm guessing that's how pronounced differently. And it was painted between 1635 and 1640. So it was meant to represent the gods coming together on Mount Olympus. And how they defended themselves is that, this is the Olympics. Started on Mount Olympus, the gods came together, and this was the feast. And the blue guy, the awkwardly painted blue guy, is the Greek god Dionysus. So then
the god of fertility, wine, and revelry.
Yeah. I mean, he looks the part, He looks the part. If you see him at a party, you know there's going to be some revelry, and
he's having fun for sure.
And some fertility going around, But then when I watched the whole ceremony, right, I thought, my impression when I saw the clips online was that this was a dedicated segment that had the drag queen walking on the long table, the Greek god Dionysus, the unveiling of what people say is the parody or depiction of the Last Supper. But they were all very spread out, And they were like, at most, maybe like 5 seconds each, here and there. Then when I watched the whole thing, I was like, this whole thing is 4 hours. Then it feels like, wow. So my take is that they knew this was going to ruffle up the feathers.
Yeah.
And they had a defense for it. But I also think there's a bit of overreaction, lah.
What? So you're saying that they deliberately wanted to be cheeky about it and all that?
I feel lah.
You feel that?
Because okay, just from our own experience, having written shows, having directed shows, having worked with art directors to set up a scene visually, you always want to play with symbolism, lah.
Correct. Yeah.
You always want to kind of like insert things here and there, and like it just gives more depth to whatever story you're telling or whatever you're doing. So I feel, this is my hunch, of course, speculation, I have no proof of this. I feel like they knew what they were doing and they kind of like foresaw this reaction and they wanted to do it that way, lah.
But I mean, the director, Thomas, his name is Thomas Jolly, right?
Yeah.
Great name for someone who wants to do a tableau about revelry and fun. Thomas Jolly, he himself has mentioned that it is a interpretation of the Dionysus, right? That's supposed to make us aware of the absurdity of violence between human beings.
Yeah.
And he has casted drag queens, right? Quite a, I would say, like quite a marginalized minority group of people in those roles, right? What, like I said, like the Last Supper is one of the many paintings of that era. Why must it be that he is trying to reference the Last Supper when you yourself have seen that? You've seen the other paintings by the Dutch person. It's also a table with people around and revelry and everything, and even with children also at the table, which is closer to what
the
was
Feast of the Gods.
Yeah, the Feast of the Gods. Whereas there's no child at the table in the Last Supper either. So why do you think that he must be trying to reference the Last Supper?
So again, this is purely speculation. Because if you're going to have people on one edge of a table representing this one thing, like if I can totally imagine him or any other director thinking, okay, you know what, I'm going to have to position these people on one side of the table.
Yeah.
Can I be a little, cheeky about it? Let's position them such that, it is the Feast of the Gods, but they can be positioned this way. And it happens a lot in films and TV shows.
Correct, yeah.
And I think it's almost like, they have a defense, but they kind of, it would boggle my mind if like somehow there's a truth machine or something and they really didn't expect the backlash. Yeah, so I think it was an intentional thing to find that similarity. Of course, while depicting the Feast of the Gods, but it just feels like, but at the same time, I do feel like, the way people are reacting is a bit much.
I see. Well, it's suddenly getting deja vu. I feel like we're talking about last week's topic about the racial harmony thing and the LeBron in a way, where there can be interpretations of the intention, right? There are differing interpretations of the intention of the person. And in some sense, like when we go back to that topic of that food panda, the boy, you go online, you see there are people who, like what I was trying to say, that it could really just be...
That one racist, that one racist. Shut up, okay? That one.
And then the other interpretation is that, there was this intention to purposely rile people out racial harmony day, right? And so it's kind of like, to me, it's kind of, what intention do you want to attribute to it? And in some ways, the commenters and everyone who has an opinion about it now, they are sort of projecting their own opinions about it into the image.
Yeah.
Because I did see it, and having in my youth and all that, watch and read all the books like Da Vinci Code and all these things. So I was really looking like for like all those, those, like the Da Vinci Code talks about the chalice or like the shape of the gap between I think
Mary Magdalene,
and the person next to it, which is who?
I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember already. But little things like that. So I was looking for it in this this thing at the Olympics, this tableau at the Olympics, and I didn't see it, So I was like, if I could, even just for the layperson, if nobody really pointed it out that way, it's not even something that I would have linked two and two together. This is just a depiction of Last Supper. And I would have taken it more at face value based on what the director is saying, that it's...
but when you see the thing side by side, to the Last Supper and that still of the thing in the Olympics,
I did, yeah. I don't feel that it's that similar. Like
you don't feel it's that similar?
No, just the way, even the way the hands are positioned or the body direction, all that. If you really wanted to do it like what you mentioned as like a creative director where the details matter, right? I think you would have been more insistent that these things actually are more accurately aligned, But I didn't feel that they were. So in fact, when you say slipshod, I'm like, yeah, it was slipshod if the intention was to try and make it look like last supper. It didn't.
That one I differ. To me, it's like, you look at it, you're like, it looks very similar. Like,
in what way?
It's not. It's almost like too similar to be a coincidence, which is why I feel that it was. And again, yes, I'm attributing intention, but I feel like it's a bit too similar to just be like, okay, this is purely a coincidence. Yeah, and then it comes to the question is like, like just based on what you see online, there are people who don't see the similarity. Even in this room, there are people who don't see the similarity. There are people who do. So then when you're deciding to direct the Olympic Games opening ceremony, like why would you put something there that is, could be seen both ways? Like it is a creative direction. And I'm not saying it's wrong or right. I'm just saying it's a creative direction. It's their choice.
It's a choice.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's where, I guess where we differ is that you're attributing like deliberate intention on his side to provoke. Whereas for me, it's like
coincidence.
Not coincidence. I mean, I would see more similarities to the Dionysus, that painting from the Dutch person than the Last Supper, right?
Okay.
That's where I differ. I do think he is trying to make some kind of artistic reference to that. I mean, the idea of this as well, and people are calling it a tableau, a pastiche. It's like when you're walking in a museum in France or something like the Louvre, looking at a painting. That's what it's meant to look like a snapshot of time, but painted in a very artistic way.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit of a stretch. But I'm just curious, because you talk to your wife and your family, all that kind of thing. So what is the general consensus?
I haven't talked to my extended. I haven't summoned my wife's family. Please, let's have a town hall to discuss this.
Because as far as I know, the Pope has been silent about it.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of like the religious leaders
around the world, French bishops and all.
Yeah, French bishops.
Apparently, even like when you say that the people who are speaking out about it, right?
Yeah.
The Trumps and the Elon Musk, a lot of them are coming from America.
Yeah.
Apparently in France, the approval rating for this Olympics is super high. So the French people themselves are actually...
For the opening ceremony or for the Olympics themselves?
The opening ceremony.
Okay.
Yeah, generally the French seem to have loved it. And so what I've just heard is that even the far-right leaders in France, like Marine Le Pen, have not said anything about it.
Yeah.
They know that French people love it, so they shouldn't hop on it to criticize it. But the people jumping on it to criticize it are the very hardcore far-right evangelicals in America.
And by being angry about it now, I think you will win a lot of points. Because I don't know how many people would actually, who maybe have not seen the full Olympic ceremony, would take this same way like I did. I thought, oh shit, this is a whole segment.
Yeah.
Poking fun at the whole thing, but it's really spread out. Yeah. So just to go back to what you're saying, I think where we are differing is like, okay, the similarity between the two. Yeah. But again, I'm not saying it's wrong or right. Right. So then the other things that popped out when I was reading it, so the apology also from the organizers have gotten a lot of criticism because this is not an apology and all.
Criticized because it is not an apology.
Like the detractors are saying this is a non-apology apology.
They basically said sorry if you're offended.
Yeah, right? Sorry if you're offended. And in France, we have a lot of rights.
Yeah.
We can love whoever we want. Yeah. And if you're offended, sorry. Yeah. So, but some performers also have come out saying that they wish that the organizers didn't apologize.
Yeah.
Which I can see some merit also, because by apologizing,
you're admitting that
you did something
wrong.
Yeah. So then also, like one big theme, according to the director, and I mean, if you look at the whole Olympic ceremony, you can't argue that there is no diversity. Right? There's a shit ton of diversity.
Yeah.
Like every shape, every figure, every color, every nationality, you can find it there.
Yeah.
So then I was thinking, let's say if it is the Last Supper, right? If it is the Last Supper, getting like the people who represent the Last Supper also feels like it needs to fall within a box. You need to be like men or stuff. And I mean, because I saw like some like just a thought like, if you're talking, let's say they were wanting to depict the Last Supper, it's like, there are many things that are historical or ancient texts, and you get different people to depict it, They might not be the same gender, they might not be this. And is this that wrong?
Yeah.
Aren't you promoting that, like as a religion, it is about love for everyone.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm like, I guess that I don't think will ever be accepted.
Yeah.
But you can almost see like the train of thought there.
Yeah.
Then I was like, Okay.
Because I'm sure this is not the first time the Last Supper has been, assuming that this is what the intention was.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that, just going off your train of thought now, right? That this is not the first time the Last Supper has been depicted or parodied or, sketched out or anything like that, right? So people are saying that the reason religious fundamentalists are taking issue with this is because it's drag queens. So it's a rejection of drag queens and, what they call the LGBTQ lifestyle and all that. That's the issue here. Not so much, the fact that it's a depiction of the Last Supper, right? Because ultimately, if it was a depiction of it, right, if it's been done in history before and done to death and everything, why would this be that special or different, right?
But then it begs the question: if you're doing an Olympic ceremony, why the choice to do something like this?
What is the Olympics supposed to be for you when you
bringing people together, lah? Bringing people together, like leveling the playing field for everyone to compete. And yeah, lah.
So it's not about naked men oiling each other up and then like wrestling on the ground and everything, lah.
I mean, that also kind of happens, except they wear a bit more clothes,
Because the funny thing is, when you read about it, Olympics
was an orgy, is it?
Fucking pagan festival. I mean, it was started to worship. It was started to honor Zeus. People went there. The Greeks went there. I mean, Greeks, Egyptians, whatever. They would stop fighting wars to go there. And when it first started, there was only one event just running, and they would run naked. That was the thing. And then the Greek men would oil each other up, for subsequently for wrestling and all that kind of thing. They would oil each other up, and that made the Egyptians uncomfortable, apparently. Things like that. Prostitutes were brought in, to service 40,000 people who come for the Olympics and all. So it was this giant pagan festival celebration of the Greek gods,
Yeah.
So if you don't want any of that today, because we are, I don't know what society we're in or that, then we should not have the Olympics at all.
No, I think that's a bit of a stretch, lah.
No, but so my whole point is that the history of the Olympics, people talk about Olympics shouldn't be like this, but what should the Olympics be?
At what point do you
at what point do you
the
say,
reference?
at what point do you say, Olympics is supposed to be this clean thing that's only for kids, must be age appropriate, everything, as opposed to what, this, something like this tableau harking back to what it is, it's a celebration of the Greek gods and the, fertility revelry and everything, right? And in fact, this is already very tame compared to probably what was going on back then. Probably after they race after that, they straight away go to the brothel or anything like that, So that was what the Olympics was back then. Then why is it that people now suddenly holding up this thing like the Olympics represents the best of
Because
humanity,
at least for the since the modern Olympic Games, right, which I think started in, this is the 34th Olympic Games. If you look at the modern Olympic Games, there is a bit more clearer direction of what it stands for, lah.
When does modern begin? Because remember the Olympics also hosted in Nazi Germany at one point, and then there were certain things that also irked people in the Olympics.
Yeah.
But so, do we celebrate those things that happen there also? Right?
But then then it goes back to how far you want to go. Hey, if NTUC can start as a cooperative, Terence, then corporatize and be sold off.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We can't hold Olympics to this high moral standard that I don't even know where it comes from, Because do we go back all the way to origins? Do we go back to when the Olympics were in Nazi Germany?
Then you can argue why follow laws? Terence, the first society had no laws.
But what's the law of the Olympics that cannot have depictions of paintings?
No, but I'm just saying it sounds like what you're saying is because there's no the values of Olympics have changed over time. There's no tangible, this is the value of Olympics. We cannot there's no value, there's nothing that it stands for, because what it stands for has changed over time.
No, so what I'm hearing is that basically we just have to look out for who will get offended by something.
You are here. Okay, explain how you get that from what I'm saying.
No, because if the Olympics, I'm trying to understand what you mean by the Olympics doesn't stand for something like this.
No, I'm just arguing your point, saying that because there is no formal thing about what it stands for and its roots are very different, what does it stand for?
Correct. So I'm saying why is it that now we must acquiesce to a group of people who get offended.
Well, that is a totally different stretch. I'm like acquiesce to a different group. Like from what I'm saying is, I'm just asking. Like, then for you, like the Olympics doesn't stand for anything, or it doesn't promote anything, or
no. I mean, it is a celebration of humanity coming together, and then partaking in sport and competing to show the limits or the to break the limits of what humans can achieve, lah.
Yeah.
But it has nothing to do with this depiction of how this Olympics opening ceremony and what is depicted and why are people offended, right?
Yeah. So I'm not saying it is, right?
No, yeah. So I'm saying, if people because your earlier point was that this shouldn't. Why would you choose to have this at the Olympics, right? What's wrong with that?
No, I was just saying. I'm saying why, not in like I think it's wrong.
Then
I'm just talking through the thought process. Don't ascribe intention to me, because if
but
people,
that's exactly what we're doing. You're doing that.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm just saying, okay, like why would someone, or would you even as the director, let's say of like the National Day or Olympics, insert something that you can believe one way, but this is going to be broadcast to the world. Everything you do, you have to kind of put your understand what the viewer will take away from it, right? It's not a free for all where the Olympics can just show people having sex and all. There's a certain line, right?
Yeah.
So what I wanted to talk through there is like how you determine that line, lah. And like even for you as a director, having directed TV shows, how would you think about that line?
There's very clear laws, right? No hate speech.
Yeah.
Nothing that denigrates certain segments of society and all that, lah.
Yeah.
There are very clear lines. You're saying that I don't agree with I wouldn't agree with anyone who said that there's no lines, because there are lines, like you direct any show or what, certain things you don't do, right? Has any line been breached in this depiction of this thing?
No, lah.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why I'm not saying it's wrong.
Yeah. So I'm saying, as the director, if I'm I'm not even like trying to recreate the Last Supper. I'm trying to recreate the Feast of Dionysus, whatever.
Feast of the Gods.
Feast of the Gods. Then I wouldn't even be thinking about any of these kind of lines, because there's no line I'm crossing based on that one. So I think to me it's totally okay. So what I was taking issue with was saying that, even why would you do this at the Olympics? It's like I would do this at the Olympics. I think it's okay to do it at the Olympics. It doesn't cross any lines or does anything that is that is against the law or anything like that. But there are a group of people getting offended by it. But I'm just saying, should we be measuring what we can or can't do just based on who gets offended by it only?
Yeah, no lah.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. So we agree that way.
Yeah,
so it can be at the Olympics. Nothing wrong, right?
I think like there will be backlash, and if you're okay to deal with it, then like if you're a director, you make that choice.
No, but that's the thing. I don't ascribe him the intention of deliberately trying to imitate the Last Supper.
Yeah, I'm not saying also, but I'm saying like, I would imagine, okay, like even in our TV shows, right, whenever we're thinking of writing something, even naming a character, there's a lot of thought that goes into it.
Correct.
So my assumption is that this probably may have been highlighted, but they chose to go ahead anyway, which is their choice as a director.
Yeah. That's why I don't think that was the intention on his part. I really don't think there was, but I think you think that very clearly he's trying to have a bit of that intention in there, right?
Yeah, that would be my assumption,
Yeah. So I think maybe that's where we differ.
Yeah.
A bit like our Food Panda, like the racial harmony dating, where there was, I think on your side you see that there is intention on the person's part to make a statement during Racial Harmony Day.
Actually, no, I wouldn't say intention. I would say that, like, of course, it would be in the ideal world, like, you judge people based on their intentions only. But whatever you do, there are repercussions, right? And even if you don't intend to do something, that doesn't absolve you of actually doing something that not even be offensive, could be hurtful, could be wrong even. And I think, for me, it's not super black and white that, okay, if you didn't intend to do this, then you should not be like kind of held responsible for your actions.
Held responsible. Okay, held responsible, but there's levels to it, right?
Yeah.
There's murder and there's manslaughter, right?
Yeah.
So intent, I think intention matters a lot.
It matters a lot.
It matters a lot in terms of determining how much someone is culpable for hurt or offense or whatever cause. So to me, if the intention was not there, that very gross intention of being racist and everything was not there, it makes me think about what happened what happened in the kid's mind with the food panda thing in a very different light, you know.
Yeah.
And I think the principal also has come out to try and defend, not say defend, but explain the kid's perspective. But he is being disciplined and punished, right?
Yeah.
But there's, there are people calling for his head and
that one I also don't agree,
saying Raffles elitist, all these things. Whereas I felt it's uncalled for, undeserved,
Yeah.
So in some ways, in this thing, yes, there are people who get offended, but I'm just saying that should we as a society be adjusting everything just based on like who gets offended by what?
So that means now if the world or society had a chance to go into that creative meeting, and you could speak to the director, what would you say to him?
I would tell him like what you say, give him the heads up that this one, some people who maybe might not be as learned as you, they might think that this is the Last Supper. So it might ruffle some feathers.
Yeah.
You ready for that? Then
and if he's okay?
Okay, then he deserves it. Because he had the intention, right? He knows already, what. But I'm saying that I'm saying that meeting I don't think actually happened.
But let's say like you could go back to that meeting.
Yeah.
And you tell him that.
Yeah.
Would you tell him, okay, don't lah?
As in, if I had the authority to stop it, and I was part of the managing team of the Paris Olympics, I think if I was part of the managing team, I would want to avoid any kind of negative PR as much as possible. Because I think some brands, are boycotting advertising because of this thing.
Yeah.
Then the responsible thing to do in my role would be to stop it, lah. But as a layperson like that, I feel that this whole thing is just a big overreaction.
Yeah. I mean, actually, you brought up a good point that, like, by being director of something, right?
Yeah.
You are not just directing something for yourself,
Yeah.
There will be other stakeholders and all involved.
Yeah.
So then, of course, it shouldn't be you should, cow down to the demands of everyone. But these sort of things need to be thought of.
Yeah.
And if the truth is, they didn't predict this, then I'll be like, okay, I don't think you all did enough homework. I don't think you all were being diligent enough.
Yeah.
Especially when you're doing something that's going to be broadcast to millions of people. And we are already seeing repercussions, whether you agree or not, that advertising dollars are being pulled out.
Yeah.
And it's going to affect other people.
Yeah. But we are much poorer as a society for it.
For what?
If we really need to be so careful, to tread so carefully about every depiction of everything like this,
So I think, in my ideal state, we shouldn't have to tread water.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, Terence, there is the real world that we are living in, whether we like it or not. And if you also if someone fails to kind of foresee these sort of things that happen to them, then I feel like, then you're almost being a bit too naive.
Yeah. I mean, I quote a very smart guy who said, when you're super sensitive about other people, that you become super sensitive about other people's issues, and you become hypersensitive when other people somehow say other things or mention things that refer to you without the respect which you or your super subgroup feel you're entitled to.
Who's that?
Lee Hsien Loong talking about wokeness, and how it's very burdensome.
Yeah.
So that's where.
So then what's the solution to wokeness, Terence? Just fight it head on.
I mean, that's what a lot of people are doing now. But okay, I mean, I think we can even talk about that in our second topic, the definition of wokeness, right?
Yeah.
But I just feel that I actually feel disappointed that they apologized about this thing,
Yeah.
Because I feel that even as just putting myself in the shoes of that director also, it's very disappointing when you see the organization that commissioned you to do this, that you probably presented this idea to beforehand and got approval, and everyone, very good job. Suddenly just turn around and say like, we're so sorry that you offended people and all that, without backing your vision also. I think that it's this is a very hard pill to swallow. And I feel that just as a viewer also who also feels a bit like, why is everyone overreacting to this? I also feel a bit disappointed.
So you're surprised people are overreacting to this?
Surprised in what sense? Like
that it has reached this level?
A little bit surprised, yeah.
Really,
I feel like people are reading too much intention into what the director was trying to do. Because I've been listening to these far-right podcasts, some people who are lumping everything about that they're seeing at the Olympic ceremony. Even Lady Gaga's performance, they're like, she's like the LGBTQ symbol.
I mean, even Andrew Tate has chimed in. Right?
Yeah, Andrew Tate also. And so I do feel there are people who are just latching onto this as a moment to their moment in the sun, right? To speak up and feel like they are speaking up for a big group of people and feel superior and all that.
Yeah.
So I don't like that. I feel that that's it's kind of taking a bit far.
Yeah. But I mean, like, the moment I saw this already, like, it felt like, okay, this is going to blow up.
But the moment you saw it, did you merely think that this is the Last Supper?
No. So when I say I saw it, I saw the calls for about blasphemy and all growing. Then it felt like, oh fuck, this is going to be occupying the news for the next few days.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm so like a fucking predictor of things or something. It just feels like, okay, now they're having to apologize. Like, again, like, the moment ad money is pulled, things can change.
Correct,
especially for games that is already going to be not profitable. I think it's going to cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
So these sort of things have repercussions.
Yeah.
So, I also would have preferred if they didn't apologize. But that's where being the director of a show that is going to be shown to millions of people, I also think that you have to play within the boundaries. Like certain, I mean, even like MediaCorp, right? Can you do anything on MediaCorp that you would do on HBO? No, because you play within that boundaries. So if you want to take a risk, then, and if other people are okay with it, then go ahead, but there might be repercussions like this.
But we are two Singaporeans talking about this, and our media scene is not exactly the most liberal in the world. I think France is a very different society in that way. Secularism is a big part of their culture. People never even bat an eyelid when LGBT mayor of Paris pops up and things like that, and the idea, they entrench the idea of like secularism even in their law, right, where they don't allow any marks of religion to be worn in schools and things like that. There are both arguments for and against that kind of that quite a stern view of secularism, right? But I'm saying that's France, and that's the context in which the show director and even all the organizers are thinking about things, and it just might appear to be a very different world to everyone else outside of France, right? Especially even in Singapore, like MediaCorp and all that is like probably miles away from whatever their own media laws are, right? But it has also led to a lot of tension, right, in their own country, Charlie Hebdo and all these things as well. So not saying that it's better or it's worse or what, I'm just saying that just understanding the context of France as a country and what they believe in all that, I can see how something like this, they feel slipping through the cracks in terms of like within their own organizing committee, not even realizing, hey, there will be a very big group of people who might get offended by this thing, right? If they saw that it was the Last Supper kind of thing. So that's France, for better or worse. I'm not in love with France. I studied there and everything, but there are certain things about the culture and society that hard for me to also accept.
I think they're very proud of the values and what they stand for. Even in the statement by the organizers, like, we have a lot of rights here. We're free to love everyone we want, anyone we want. Which, I mean, all good for you. But then it, as the host of the games, I don't know how the discussions are. You hear when in Rome. If someone comes to Singapore when we're hosting the games, will we change our laws? No. But how will we organize the games as a host, as opposed to just something that is very Singapore centric?
But it was kind of like the last World Cup in
with the LGBTQ
Qatar,
rights and all that.
Or even serving alcohol during matches. Remember how initially it was going to be okay to drink alcohol?
Yeah.
They pulled
I thought it was the other way around.
No, they pulled it.
They pulled it.
They banned alcohol. So these things will take place at big international events in different places around the world. So I think this is the one for Paris that maybe, given the much more polarized world that we live in today, the people will latch on and make a very big issue out of it. That's why we're talking about it for so long here.
Exactly.
But even even our next topic, the person also has views about this Paris Olympics thing also.
Oh, he put down some views about Paris Olympics.
Yeah. It's in the same post also.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But we talk about polarized worlds, this guy is probably the epitome of the polarized world that we live in also. No, not the epitome. I mean, that's giving too much credit.
One of,
right?
Yeah.
And who is this person? What has he done?
It is Lim Tean, who is an opposition politician in Singapore, who posted something on 26 July with the title, "The girl in your roadside poster is not Singaporean." So basically, he shared a post by a girl who was featured in a roadside poster celebrating National Day. And it was her post, just it's not available anymore. But he shared her post, and I'll read his post, I think it is a lovely picture of, I won't say the young girl's name, because that was blocked out on mainstream on media when they covered it also. "In the roadside poster celebrating National Day, and I say welcome to Singapore and hope you had a lovely time. But why is a non-Singaporean being featured in a roadside poster celebrating our National Day? Shouldn't National Day be a celebration of the Singapore identity and Singaporeans? Is it so difficult to find a Singaporean poster girl? My friends, we have to be very careful and not allow our Singaporean identity to be lost. PV and I will never step away from fighting to preserve our identity as Singaporeans." And the PV being People's Voice, his political party. So, I think our Tanjong Pagar Facebook page kind of called him out for that. And because the girl whose name he mentioned and whose post he shared started getting a lot of hate on his post. And I mean, that's why she removed it. And then they clarified that of the 20 banners they put up this year, 18 of them featured Singaporeans, 1 featured a permanent resident, and 1 featured this young girl. So then Alvin Tan, Senior Minister of State, also posted on LinkedIn that, we are better than this.
Yeah.
Then, of course, Lim Tean came back with another post, kind of doubling down and highlighting his Singapore passport.
Yeah.
So, Terence, how and when did you hear about this?
Funnily enough, I was at an event on Saturday. It was an interfaith religious event. So for anyone who thinks that I'm like a pagan and everything, I was actually at an interfaith religious event.
You are kind of like, I'm fighting the fight every day with Terence.
But I was at an event where...
And you were invited?
I was invited, yes, invited as a guest. And Alvin Tan was the guest of honor. So he came and he spoke, and one of the things he brought up was this issue. It was fresh off the press, like he had just posted about it on, I think, the day before or something like that. And he was very... it was quite charged. Like when he talked about, there's this gentleman named Lim Tean who posted this, and is this the kind of Singapore that we want to do? And it was a 10-year-old girl and everything. And he provided those same statistics, like 18 out of 20 of them were Singaporeans, and one of them was PR, and she was, a 10-year-old. But he didn't. I saw that
right?
He avoided even using the word foreigner.
Yeah,
He just said it was a 10-year-old girl, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, we can assume that she is a foreigner, right? Or I believe she's trying to get a PR also.
But that one all is also hearsay, There's nothing official, right?
We don't know. Yeah. So that was when I first heard about it. How about you?
I heard about it, I think, when I saw Alvin Tan's LinkedIn post.
Okay.
I was like...
crawler.
LinkedIn crawler. I'm just cringe. I'm like, hey, what the hell happened here?
Yeah.
Because Alvin Tan quite active on LinkedIn.
And he's been on Yellow Bud before.
Yeah, he's been on Yellow Bud also.
Yeah.
Then I saw the articles, then I read Lim Tean's post. Then I was like, wow, it's on pretty divisive.
Yeah.
Pretty divisive. Because his post after that, I think just 2 days ago, so 29 July, National Day is a time for the celebration of patriotism, the Singapore identity, and our citizenship. And then he goes on to talk about how when he was studying abroad, his closest friend was a brilliant Kenyan scholar.
Yeah.
Even though he has friends from around the world, he never forgets that he is a Singaporean, and he is sad and disappointed at what is happening, where foreign talent, in air quote, is celebrated, but little is spoken of the immense real Singapore talent that exists. And then he goes on to talk about the percentage of jobs that are apparently lost to foreigners, that he will defend his last breath. To his last breath, his belief that National Day should be a celebration of our people as Singaporeans and Singapore citizens.
Yeah.
He doesn't have time for inclusivity and multiculturalism. He basically doubled down.
Yeah.
And he also talked about the Paris Olympics opening ceremony, which he felt was brilliant. and original and showcase French ingenuity, but he did not appreciate the mocking of the Last Supper.
By the drag queens.
By the drag queens.
It was offensive to 2.4 billion Catholics and Christians of the world, of which I'm one. It's blasphemous.
Oh, one thing I forgot, like just to go back to the Paris Olympics, the one thing, right, that you cannot deny is that on one shot of the white table where there's the blue guy, Dionysus, and a dancer in the background, you can see part of the dancer's genitalia popping out.
Oh. Yeah.
And I saw the picture, I was like, okay, please tell me that's doctored. I went to look for that frame, I was like,
it's right there.
Okay, it's right there. It's right there.
Wardrobe malfunction. Wardrobe malfunction. I don't think they deliberately
but
trying
I was
to
like,
show.
oh shit, that is pretty obvious.
But I don't think they're trying to deliberately
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Show a ball or something.
Yeah, I don't think so. But yeah, it was there.
But yeah, Lim Tean speaking up against woke culture alongside Lee Hsien Loong.
How is he speaking up against woke? Oh, you mean the inclusivity?
You said woke culture was on display in Paris last Friday.
Yeah. So yeah, Terence, what do you think, man? Terence, you know, you were there at the interfaith meeting, eating durian.
Yeah, correct.
You know, enlightened weekend.
Yes.
While I was just coasting on my laurels of the supposed fight that I'm, fighting the good fight every day.
You mean what, in church or
no, against racism, against the racist tyrant that sits opposite me.
Yeah.
Every podcast.
The funny things, I think since we talked about the Food Panda thing, we've gotten quite heated responses from people,
which I also think is unfair,
it's completely
unfair,
completely wrong, that's
I wouldn't
the
thing. see, there you go with your superlatives again,
No, but I mean, to be fair, people are using superlatives first, and that's why I have to respond in kind, because I do think like what I did was I tried to. I think when that's the thing about like this allegations of someone being racist, all that is sometimes like I kind of think it's hard to live life when you walk into every room and immediately you start thinking about who's majority, who's minority, who's got power, who's got no power, what intention you have, to mock me, what is the microaggression you just did against me. I feel it's a tough way to live life, right? And even when living as a minority, when I was living overseas, all that, I tried my best to get out of that kind of mindset where everywhere you go, you just feel like something you're being discriminated against or whatever, And of course, I'm not downplaying the experience of being a minority in Singapore, right? I'm just saying, sometimes it might be worth just trying to see the best in people, or at least like not just see the worst in people when you first meet them, or you see that they do something, and just trying to understand where they come from, right? So yeah, Lim Tean. I mean, trying to see the best in what Lim Tean did. Is there any redeeming parts of what Lim Tean was talking about that you feel like, okay, like any validity to what he's saying?
I mean, he touches on a point that I think a lot of people are feeling. That, Singapore is feeling a lot more crowded. There are a lot of foreigners coming to Singapore.
Yeah.
Jobs are being, I wouldn't say solely taken by foreigners.
Yeah.
So that one I wouldn't say, but there are a lot of foreigners in Singapore. And when cost of living is increasing, there seems like the resources and what you need and all is getting scarcer, more expensive. There's this primal feel like, oh shit, like why so many of them, which is a very dangerous feeling. So I think the one thing about what he said is that it might be a feeling that everyone is feeling to a certain extent. But I think the way he hammers down and doubles down on it and almost kind of, how you say, encourages like xenophobia is not good. For you?
I think he asks, okay, I mean, aside from all the vitriol about the slightly more xenophobic slant of certain things that he says, right? There is a question that did, pop to my mind. It's like, what is the intention of this, these posters?
The I word again, the I word.
What's the intention of these National Day posters being put up, right?
Yeah.
And how did they come to that ratio of like 18 locals, 1 PR and 1 foreigner to do it, right? Which I didn't feel was super well explained even in Tanjong Paga's post or anything, right? On the surface, I would assume that it's allow Tanjong Pagar residents to celebrate National Day, right? And regardless of whether you are citizen or PR or what, you are wishing Singapore a happy birthday, right? So that aspect I think wasn't very clear at the start, and that's where Lim Tean just took this and made it about how come resources are being spent showing the face of a foreigner rather than showing the face of a Singaporean. Because, and I say this only because I myself have felt certain times, especially in our media scene and arts and entertainment scene, a lot of those banners that you see by the road on the lights, on the street lamps and all that, right? They are usually of like international acts or events coming to Singapore. Whereas I feel like there are a lot of like local Singaporean acts or that who don't get the same airtime that they should vis-a-vis a foreign, big foreign act lah. And we've been on the receiving end of discussions like this with bureaucracy as well. Us, forming a very cohesive, strong working team with other creative people in Singapore, pitching to, big bureaucracies and saying, hey, we are willing to do this project as a group of Singaporeans really wanting to build up an ecosystem here. And then that bureaucracy turning around and telling us that basically you're not demand drivers.
You're not big enough.
Yeah, the word was demand drivers. They said, you don't drive demand in Singapore. Who drives demand? Nas Daily drives demand. Maker Studios from Disney drives demand. Things like that. They can do it. Y'all know, So I've been on the receiving end of that, and I felt that that's unfair, right? That's a lot, not just unfair, but it's just why not when you have your local talents and creatives all coming together to do something and very earnestly want to do something together alongside a big company like Google wanting to back us and all that. How come it's still not enough compared to a foreign company or media company or what coming in and just taking out all the resources, right? So I felt that kind of thing, especially when it comes to those posters. When I see those posters, sometimes I'm like, I know those are they control who can go on those posters very diligently lah. And usually it's like foreign acts and all that can you see, and you rarely see like local acts or local events being promoted that way lah, because there's no tourism element to it. So yeah, I think I understand where he's coming from, but I think this National Day posters are a different thing lah. I think they are meant for residents of Singapore, regardless of where you're from. But if you're staying in Singapore now, it's a way for the residents to say happy birthday to Singapore lah. So that's where probably deviate a lot from what Lim Tean is saying lah.
But I mean, just now you're saying that like you do feel that sometimes we don't give enough attention to locals in certain circumstances.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So in the circumstances like when you're promoting industry, promoting your media, you're promoting your events and promoting your talents and all that, I feel we don't give enough to the local artists and scene and the local creatives lah.
Yeah.
But it's something like National Day where it's like regardless of where you came from, but you stay in Singapore now, it's about a love. It's like a birthday greeting, right, to Singapore, and it's good to see that there are foreigners who also wish Singapore well during our birthday and all that, and especially a 10-year-old girl who is quite cute and everything, like doing it. I think it's nice, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I think is different. Like if Lim Tean was making noise about the posters, how come there aren't more like posters of like local artists and all that versus like showing F1 and all this, promoting F1 and all that? Then okay lah, I say he has something a bit more to talk about there. But here I feel like he's just really like jumping on that bandwagon of like calling out like foreigners and everything. Yeah.
But I mean, in some way, he's saying that he's looking out for the rights of Singaporeans lah.
The right to be in that post.
Because I mean, poster. He's also touching on the broader things, right? Of course, he extrapolates into like jobs and stuff.
Yeah.
But it feels like he got the back of Singaporeans.
But I guess that's what he wants to be seen as, right? Which is a very Trump strategy, right?
Very like even in the far right, in France, the EU and all.
But do you see any validity in what he's saying? Like, should that 20th spot, be a Singaporean or even at least a PR rather than someone who's not?
So just now when you were going on that thing about the posters, like for industry, I was thinking, actually, is he just asking a question that needs to be asked?
Yeah.
That I mean, in some way, we've spoken about some politicians or some MPs in Parliament who ask questions that are difficult, but they ask questions about what people are thinking, right or wrong, and rather than people living in a vacuum and filling their minds with their own answers, it's better to get an answer, right? Then I was thinking, oh, maybe is this a valid question? Is he asking a question? But then, as you also talking about, what is the intention of this poster? I think National Day is celebrating our country, right? And I totally agree that the balance of foreigners in Singapore right now is very, very touchy. And there is a lot of friction. And of course, when you see the money launderers all coming in with all this money, there's a certain, like people just come, use money, like Singapore is like a financial brothel. Fuck over and go. But then when I was thinking, what does National Day celebrate? It's Singapore as a country. And then you think about it, the first thought that came to mind was like, okay, when we think about Singapore country coming up as a society, there are a bunch of foreigners who have contributed to that. The construction workers. Right. So, of course, the little girl in the photo is not of the same ethnicity than a lot of the construction workers. But we cannot deny that foreigners have played a part in building up Singapore. Even if they're not citizens or permanent residents. Then I was thinking, actually, no lah. Then we are celebrating our country, Singapore, what it is. I think it's fair to include like one foreigner in a poster lah. But I mean, online a lot of people don't agree lah. But like for you, do you see anything wrong with the fact that there's someone included who is not a Singapore citizen or permanent resident, or would you prefer that she wasn't part of it?
I guess what I wanted to ask you was like, so if you were part of the organizing committee that put out these posters, right? Knowing that somebody will get offended, a group of people will get offended by it, right? Would you still go ahead and put up, and advise them to put up this poster of this picture of a foreigner? And why so?
Because I think, like, then, okay, what is the future of Singapore we want? Like, just Singaporeans. Just Singapore, like permanent residents.
No, but not extrapolating to the extreme lah. No, but knowing that someone will get offended by it, correct. Knowing that there's a big group of people, Lim Tean, led by Lim Tean, who will get offended by this foreigner in the poster lah. Would you still want that poster to be up there?
Darren, sometimes I think you make it so easy for people to see you as the villain. No? A lot of things you and I we can agree on, but because you have that smirk on your face, right? People look at you and be like, look at this fucker, tormenting poor Harish.
No, I'm just enjoying the fact. I just want to like hear the answer lah.
Why are you enjoying the fact?
Considering what we were discussing earlier about the Olympics lah, like about talking about whether they should have gone ahead with the depiction of it, knowing that it will offend a group of people.
And what was my answer to that?
No, I'm just asking, but in this case, what is your answer?
In this case, I would say go ahead. Because, like, I think to me, it's different from the Olympics one. Because this one, okay, we are celebrating Singapore, we are celebrating, like, National Day. To me, especially if it's coming from the the government, it is kind of like saying, okay, what do we want Singapore, or what do we see Singapore being and kind of like acknowledging that, and even to a certain extent championing that. And I think Singapore as a country going forward, there's no way we are not going to have foreigners or permanent residents in our country. How we balance that better, that is a whole different cause of debate. But I would say, okay, this is what we see our country going, this is what our country currently is, so we stand by it lah. If they apologize, then it's like, then what do you stand for?
So in spite of a very big group of people who are offended by or angry about it, you still push through to have that.
I mean, then, like I would say, okay, like why this makeup like 1811 or something. 1811. And I mean, if the reason is because this is what our country is, we cannot run away from it, and this is what we need to stand for, then I'll be like, go ahead. If they're like, I just want to put the foreigner there because, can get more traction, more eyeballs for the post to go viral, then I'll be like, fuck you lah, okay? Don't
so if there was an intent to kind of like,
just shut up, okay? That's like saying, hey, I just leaked a picture of my bare ass, we'll get views, but we don't do that. But for you?
No, funny. It's just interesting because I'm just starting to see the parallels in the two topics we're discussing.
Again, your smirk. Your high horse pedestal smirk.
No, it's okay. I mean, I think it's just interesting that these parallels are coming up in the discussion about Paris Olympics earlier and all that, right? And you talk about what is the Singapore that we want, right? And then it's Singapore government putting this set of posters together, right? And on the other side of the Paris Olympics thing was, we talked about France, the context of France as a society and everything. This is what they value and champion in the world, like that kind of diversity and openness to different forms of art and different views and very, very secularist, right, society. So they saw that was their right to do what they perceived as art, right? And it offended a big group of people outside of France around the world, right? So here in Singapore, we're saying that the government that they are showing that's what Singapore should be, right? That we are open to all and everything. And so we are putting out that view of the world, right? But it's offending a big group of people who also don't agree. So I'm just starting to see the parallels in these two discussions.
But then for you?
Yeah, I think it should just totally just do it. Because I feel it's, like I said, it's the intention of this series of posters is a love letter to Singapore. And if someone from outside of Singapore who lives here spend more time here now than maybe even some PRs have and everything, are proud of Singapore and are willing to put their face out there for to congratulate Singapore on that, sure. I think totally fine. But if it was what we were saying earlier about local acts and local creative industry, locals not getting enough airtime, then I think I have a very different take on that whole thing.
But as much as you say there are parallels between the Olympics and this, I also think there's a lot of differences. So
no, of course. I'm just saying that it's interesting that suddenly this just dawned in my mind, this parallels between
But why you seem so gleeful?
No, because it's a funny discussion, right? Where we're talking about
almost you're right. Almost like reeking
no, it's not reeking
right.
It's just
righteous.
It's just interesting just seeing that we're talking about
the
France
interesting word. The interesting word. I know how you use the interesting word. No, see, you are reeking.
Don't read so much into the intention of it, Harish. That's what I'm saying. Don't read so much in the intention of it.
You think I can see in your mind the thought bubble. See, I've educated my dear friend or this. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know why the gleeful smirk.
I would say that I think Lim Tean's way of putting his point across also just very off-putting. So whatever camp you were, the fact that it was a young girl that he shared the post and made it a political thing. She just posted about being very happy that she was featured in there, and he shared it and made a very political thing out of it, and basically it made her take down the post, right? The original post.
I mean, he didn't make her.
But I guess it made her uncomfortable enough.
But did he do anything wrong against the law, Terence?
Yeah, he didn't. That's the thing. Right. Yeah.
So
unless doxing and maybe not doxing. Not even doxing, because she posted it herself. Yeah, he didn't do anything wrong.
So that's why I feel it might not be against the law.
Yeah.
But there are other things to think about.
Not pleasant. But I would say that don't do it.
So
I'm saying that his point gets lost because he does it in such a ugly fashion. You know what I mean? Because I think what you did, saying asking the question about what is the intention of this thing is a valid question to ask. But you don't do it in a way that puts a 10-year-old girl on blast, right? I think that's the thing. I think the question should be asked and it should be answered. But using a 10-year-old girl as the vehicle to ask a question is not the way.
Because just now in the earlier discussion, there's a lot of parallels.
Yes.
There's a lot of parallels. You were saying if it doesn't break the law, if it doesn't do this, it's very clear, not hate speech, not seditious. Then Ken.
So I said, Ken. No problem, Ken.
You told me, hey, Terence, bro, how should I post this? Ken. Ken. But he has to deal with the backlash.
Backlash, or I don't know. He wants this one, right?
Oh, yeah. But do you think it's the best for society, Terence?
Best for society? What is best for society?
It's post like this.
No, it's not great for society. It's not nuanced. But the thing is, I think Singapore also as a country where, we're not homogeneous in any way, right? But we're also much smaller and we're not you can't in the US where you pander to one group against another group. The people living in the rural parts of America versus
is a big enough demographic.
Yeah, it's a big enough demographic to really pass the the voters into different groups and pit them against each other. Singapore, I think, is a bit harder to do that. So even for him, it's tactically it might not work.
Yeah. So got nuance lah, got nuance. Now I take the Terrence approach. Yeah, got nuance. Oh, it's so interesting, Terrence, that you identify that there is nuance in this kind of thing.
There is a lot of nuance.
So interesting.
The most important thing
very interesting.
I think the key word that we've all learned today is intention. What is your intention?
What is your intention? Yeah, intention.
What's your intent in the posters? Lim Tean, what's your intent? Paris Olympics, what was your intent in doing that? And everything. Intent.
Correct. Intent. Word a day.
Because I did see arguments about all these things. People saying that, murder. If someone committed murder, doesn't matter how it's committed. It
is murder.
But again, there are there's murder, there's manslaughter, there's everything, negligent driving, everything. There's levels to it. So I think that's a nuance that people are missing.
And I mean, I also aspire for a world where even as a society, we can look at Lim Tean's post and be like, okay, that's not the best way to put it. Why? And we be able to deal with it as opposed to being like, oh my god, this is the fucking end of society. He just has his opinion.
But so you think it's fair to say he's being xenophobic by what he did?
That one a bit. I don't think he's breaking a law. I don't think it's seditious. I don't think it's hate speech. But it's like hints of xenophobia, which is a very difficult thing to put down. And I think that can also be very subjective.
But would it have made people happier if it was all Singaporeans with their faces being highlighted? You think?
Make people happier? I don't know. I think people were like, some people would be happier. I guess the people who are reacting so passionately on his post. But for other people, I didn't even I don't even know how many people actually knew or look at it and said, how many people are foreign, how many people are local. I think it was definitely on the government's mind because this is not the first time that an individual in a poster or a group of individuals in a poster have been called out for their supposed nationality.
Because that was 2021, right?
Of that Indian family, right?
And he was a national athlete as well.
So definitely when preparing this, there would have been a lot of thought, I assume. But whether his post is xenophobic, whether it's really tangible, I think it's a bit hard.
But I guess that's where he read into the worst intentions of what the posters were supposed to be, that they were meant to represent that a foreigner will take a Singaporean's place, right? So I was like, that's where again I think when people read too much into the intentions of certain things, all these project their own insecurities in the intentions of other people, that's where it's kind of dangerous. But correct.
Interesting conversations.
Interesting
intentions. Interesting intentions. But what is your one Shiok comment?
I think there have been a lot of really people who listen to our latest podcast with Ho Komping who have really enjoyed it, right? A lot of them say that, oh, what a gentleman, great interview and things like that. But I think some of the more interesting ones are also on YouTube, right? Where people are actually writing certain quite long posts about comparing what the liberal elites have done wrong versus what the conservatives have done so-called right. And I think that they're going to a bit more the nuance about what is going on in the US now with Trump. So I've been reading some of these comments and they're quite interesting. The fact that our discussion with Ho Komping, even very short one, has made people think deeper about a lot of these issues.
Right? There was quite a few long comments on YouTube, which is nice because at the time our YouTube comments were all just back
in the day when
copy and paste emails,
MOF or what?
No, even for the early days.
Yeah. So I think people are they're taking something away from these podcasts and putting their own spin on things.
Cool.
Yeah.
Mine is an actual email we got. So I guess because it's an email, I won't mention the name of the person, but they were saying, it's the first time they're actually writing to a podcast to tell them how much they love Yalabat. They started watching. They live in the UK. We're their main source of Singapore news and commentary, and so on. So a very sweet email. And the most important thing is that they also have been telling their overseas friends about Yalabat.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. And shout out to the person who wrote the email. Thanks so much. And if anybody else wants to send us email, you can find the email address on our website. But yeah, that was one Shiok comment. Cool. What about your one Shiok thing, man?
Mine is a video from The Daily Show. It's just titled on YouTube, How Jon Stewart Stays Hopeful in Uncertain Times. So I think after he films The Daily Show, there's a live audience. So he does a Q&A with the audience. And I think there was this quite fun exchange where a very young, I think 19-year-old teenager asked Jon Stewart how he stays hopeful in spite of everything that's going on around him. And I felt like his answer was, it was nice and has triggered a lot of interesting responses in the comments and everything also. Yeah, so it's a very short video, like 4 minutes only, but it's already got 1.2 million views in the last week.
Yeah. I mean, Jon Stewart coming back to The Daily Show is fucking great. Like, if you see the way he talks, I mean, just the way, the style, that's what I think Trevor Noah was lacking.
Yeah. It was just, I was just trying to understand why he came back. There was also some contract dispute with Amazon Prime or something.
No, I don't know.
Or like they didn't renew his show, The Problem with Jon Stewart. And then he just felt like he needed an outlet to talk. But I feel, there's some energy, some edge that was missing.
Damn good.
That now is back.
But I think that middle segment where he talks to the crowd was actually started by Trevor Noah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. And I think that won an Emmy for like a mini series or kind of thing. It was between the scenes or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Not between the scenes. Something, yeah. And now he's carried on, which is nice. I saw that clip also.
Yeah.
It was quite nice.
It's nice, yeah.
Cool. My one Shiok thing is a bit of news about Gan Jingwei.
Okay.
The Singapore swimmer who was embroiled in the controversy involuntarily a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
She made her Olympic debut. She swam her 1,500 meter freestyle on July 30th. She broke her previous national record with a time of 16:10 and 0.13 seconds. And she finished 9th, which means she's actually in the first reserve for the final.
Yeah.
Because I think these long distance events, they don't have that many heats.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, she did great and just so happy that after all the drama and all the past few weeks, she went to the Olympics for the first time. She swam, she broke the national record, and she might actually appear in the final.
This is probably the closest we are to a swimming final in this Olympics, right?
Oh yeah, probably.
Because I think there's no more Joseph Schooling.
Yeah, no more Joseph Schooling.
And as far as I know, she's probably the closest.
Yeah. But pretty solid. This is her first Olympics.
Yeah. And I mean, it was her race that
you watched.
Yeah, I saw. And it was just like, 16 minutes of like just freestyle back and forth.
Yeah.
After a while, like, wow, amazing.
I think she won by a few seconds also.
No, there's a huge gap between her and the other two in the heat. Yeah.
Wow, solid, man. So all the best, Gan Jingwei, and the rest of the Singapore athletes.
Cool.
But cool, man.
All right.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. And remember, if you enjoyed the podcast, it'd be great if you could tell someone else about it. And remember to follow us on social media. Join our Reddit for some intense discussions. And what else, Terence?
If you want to work with us, check out ministryoffunny.com. Yep.